Happy Sunday, everybody.
Yeah, how you
We're
guys doing?
live from Anchorage,
We are in Anchorage.
and we're sitting outside. It's kind of dreary-ish today. Yesterday was rainy. Today's a little dreary. We're missing the sunshine from Fairbanks.
Yep, Fairbanks was nice when it's not smoky,
Yeah.
but that smoke drove us right out of there.
Yeah, hopefully it's gotten better for them over there with that fire, because that smoke was pretty bad. And want to thank everybody for joining us today on this fun Sunday.
Fun day Sunday.
Woo, woo, woo.
So what did we do this week?
Well, first off, just thanking everybody, and I want to thank our members. This week we did do a members only video at the Anchorage Mall, and we took them shopping with us.
Yep.
So thank you guys for joining us on that little adventure. We don't
Hello,
have any.
Jessica.
Hello, Jessica. Jessica.
What got in your Wheaties today?
Something in the coffee.
Oh,
I
the
don't
coffee.
know.
The North Pole coffee.
Baby. So anyway, we don't have any mail to open today, though we do have some mail coming tomorrow. Thank you, Sherry, for keeping me posted with those tracking numbers.
Hey, what the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell's in the house, yo?
What?
Okay, my rapping skills ain't
Baby.
quite up to par.
Baby. So we do have mail coming. Thank you, Sherry.
We do. There's some mail in the pipeline too. That's
We're
bouncing around.
still waiting for like 9 packages, but without tracking numbers, it's a real pain in the tail. So if you do have any tracking numbers, just email those to me at madammayorsadventures@gmail.com. Woo! I need more of this coffee every day. What do you say?
Yeah, so the weather here is pretty much as I expected. It's cooler, which is nice. We love wearing the sweats,
Hoodies.
representing, but it's also rainier. It either rains or tries to rain almost every day. But the sun pops out now and then, and the rain's not heavy. Like if you're out walking in it, it's just a 5-minute thing, 10-minute thing.
Yeah, it's not like the Florida
Yeah, it's not
rain that I'm used to, that's coming in sideways and
It's not
filling up
that.
your floorboards. I've delivered mail in Ocala and the rain was coming sideways through my window and the floorboard was like that high with water.
So the moose shots people are talking about, that was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Moose will walk right across the street in front of your car here. They don't care. They're just they're like camels. They just kind of roam around like that. But we're sitting in the RV here, and it just literally where I'm standing or sitting, the cow, I saw the back end of the cow moose. I looked up and I'm like, look, moose. And I'm saying it real quiet. And then I don't even see the cow, the calf at first.
Baby.
Yeah, so I'm kind of leaning to the right to see that if
Moose,
it's a cow
baby,
or
baby.
a bull, right? I notice it's a cow, and then the calf comes into the picture.
Even the moose are getting with the baby
Yeah,
theme.
really
Baby.
close, 20 feet from the door.
I couldn't believe it.
And the cow didn't even really seem to pay any attention to us. When I was able to kind of move to the right and see its head, it moved its head, but it didn't startle it. I wasn't making any noise.
No. And I think that's a huge misconception too. If you don't go after them, they're not going to really come after you. But like immediately when they went across the way, someone in their vehicle like slammed on their brakes, slid in and scared them. I don't know what that was all about. But people's behaviors can drive them off and make them act kooky because of course they're going to be protecting their baby. So
Can y'all hear us okay? Because we didn't set the mics up. It was kind of last minute. We were on the phone with some friends down in Florida.
we're messing around.
Yeah, we were messing around, so it was last minute. I can grab them real quick, turn them on if you can't hear us.
Can you hear me now?
We'll talk louder.
Talk to me.
Oh, look at Ruth. Thank you, Ruth.
Ruth, thank you so
Ah,
much.
thanks for the
Blessings to
10.
you too.
Blessings back. So we're enjoying Alaska. We don't have a strict itinerary as far as we have something planned every day.
We are terrible planners.
Yeah, we're not real good at that. Now we're trying to plan some things, but it looks like next week is booked. or there's not 2 tickets to the event we want to go to.
So we'll have to do that the following week.
We're trying to set it up for next week. I need to get on the phone with them because there's some coordination that's needed because we want to go zip lining in Talkeetna. It's part of the Denali zip line tours. I've zip lined in Denali Park before, but they have one. It's the same company. They have one in Talkeetna. So we want to take the Alaska train down to Talkeetna,
Go zip lining.
go zip lining, and
grab
then
a bite.
grab a bite, get back on the train, and come back. But you have to coordinate that.
And the train went.
So according to the train schedule, it looks like it's 3 hours there, 5 hours on the ground, and then 3 hours back.
So it'll be a pretty fun day. We just got to
Yeah.
get that booked.
It'll be a long day, but
We need to get our hustle on.
get our hustle on.
Huh. So what did we do this week?
We went to that. What's the name of that? The planks with the birds.
Potter Marsh.
Potter Marsh. So we went down there. We saw an eagle.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And we went to the zoo.
We did. We went to the zoo. That was pretty cool.
That was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of different animals that you wouldn't get to see in a zoo in the lower
polar
48.
bears were the best.
They were the
main attraction.
cutest. Oh my goodness.
They're playing in the water like this, and they're pretend biting on each other. And
I
they're
could have
chasing
stayed
each
there
other.
for hours watching
Yeah,
them.
they
Brett
had-
was like, let's go.
They had quite the crowd. And then there were 2 grizzly bears, but one wasn't wanting to come out for a photo op, but I mean,
He was huge.
he was laying in a creek,
Huge.
wallowing in the creek, but it was hard to see him. The other one ended up coming across, but went inside, and then you couldn't get him.
And then there was 2 other brown bears that were playing, and they were
Oh,
cute.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were having a good time.
Those were black bears. I
Black
think.
bears,
They
were
were
they?
black bears. yeah.
Excuse-moi.
But they were up on a platform, and one was waking the other one up, and he didn't want to get up. That one's cute.
That was funny. It's like when the
Yeah.
little kid's waking up the parent because they want to play,
You ought to put little captions.
and then
in
the
that
parent
video.
gets up and it's like,
Get up.
so that was a lot of fun.
It was pretty good.
What else did we do? We had date night at the DFAC.
Oh, date night at the DFAC.
Now, what's the DFAC for people that don't know?
What was the name of it? I don't remember the name of it.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
Iditarod
Dining
DFAC,
hall.
I think.
Yeah, it's the dining facility, one of them here on base.
the Elmendorf base, and it's weird. It's nice, but it was a la carte.
And that's on the Air Force side
So,
of the base.
it's not-
because this is a joint base,
Yeah, joint base, Richardson, Elmendorf.
which Air Force and Army. So
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 different DFACs. We still haven't tried out the Army one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny too, because it was a very nice dining hall, but the whole place was full of German soldiers.
It was.
So we were like the only people not in flight suits. So it was funny, but it was cool. It was like, I'm eating with my peeps.
Yeah, I was saying you're sitting amongst your peeps there.
So it was so cool. They did have good food, but it was different because it was a la carte.
It's a la carte, but you had a lot of choices. You had 5 different lines to go in.
And then we've just been driving around the base. It's a pretty huge base.
It's pretty big when you put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been driving around, check it. They have a lot of bike paths and walking paths here.
tons.
So we've been on some of them, but there's still a ton more to explore.
Yeah.
And then the wildlife encounters. Other than that, we have this crazy squirrel that
Oh,
has been
yeah.
trying to get in our RV. I'll have to post the video at some point. He jumped right up on the screen. I thought he was coming in. I think
I
Brett.
thought he was in.
I think Brett had fallen asleep on the recliner, and all of a sudden this crazy squirrel's like right on the screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna get in here. And I'm trying to be quiet, so I got a little video of that. But yeah, he likes our camper, and he's come around a few times, so
Yeah.
we got to be careful for him. He's cute, but I don't want to live with him.
We have a little screen door. It pulls across like an accordion screen door, and it's kind of really light. I was scared the squirrel might rip it.
Yeah.
But he jumped up on
and
it.
then
He
he
climbed
climbed
all
right
the way up it, and I'm like, oh, is he on the outside or on the inside?
But he has climbed the side of the door before. I have seen him.
Yeah.
Moose are tasty. You are so right, Jason.
Oh yeah, they are. Moose is good, but we're not being
I haven't had any moose burgers this week, but we've seen some moosies. And you know what happened, Jason? I ran out of chaga.
Oh, ran out of
I was
chaga.
so upset. My chaga container, I was milking it too. I was
She
making it
was
last,
drinking it
making it
really
last,
slow.
but I'm all out of chaga.
Out of chaga.
It was terrible. But yeah, that little crazy squirrel, I'm keeping an eye out for him. He wants in. He wants to travel with us. He might want to come back home with us to see y'all.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get in touch with a lady I spoke to when I was in Fairbanks. It's a adapter bar that goes on a bike. It grabs it around the front of the bike and under the seat so you can hang it flat across. And the lady responded. She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've been off the grid, and now I've texted her, and like 5 days have gone by, and
Well,
guess she's off the grid
she might have
again."
went off the grid for
Yeah,
the
it's
4th of
Fourth of
July.
July weekend.
Maybe she went to where they put those cars off the cliff.
Oh, I did the whole time I've lived here. I'd never heard of this.
But Jason had told us about it.
Jason told us about it, and it was on the news a couple times. And
Yeah,
then I
like
looked
they
it
had
up.
a humongous crowd, bigger than most previous years. And of course, who do they interview? Florida man. So
Oh yeah, Florida
there was
man.
a guy who came up from Florida just for the event.
He did.
And I'm like, of course, Florida man. There he is.
There he is.
So
Kind of looked like John in a way.
he had teeth, I think. What
I
are you
think he
talking
did.
about?
Yeah, he had teeth. But what
Shoot.
they do is this cliff. I don't even remember where it is.
Glacier something or other?
Glacier, maybe Glacier Park, Glacier
Something.
something. Anyway,
Jason knows. Tell us, Jason.
so they launch these cars off a cliff and they go through the air, and some of them hit the hill on the downside, or some of them go all the way down to the bottom. But it's a good.
Yeah.
I don't know how tall it is officially, but it's a good 300 or 400
He
feet,
said
maybe
Sutton.
500 feet.
Sutton.
It's in Sutton. Anyway, it's north of here, and then you go
Would
east.
that be like the king of redneck activities?
They say that's what they do
Or
here on the 4th of
now,
July.
Is it politically correct? You have to say roughneck now.
Well,
I've heard that terminology.
Sledneck.
Well, sledneck here, but
Yeah.
I've heard the terminology roughneck instead of saying redneck.
But when weekends come here, when long weekends come here, it was the same when I was here. Everybody scatters. Everybody leaves. They go out in the woods, and they, the toy haulers are very popular here. You got your four-wheelers, your friends. You go get muddy. It, they love the outdoors here.
Get muddy with a buddy.
That's really why they all endure the winter, is because the summers are so phenomenal. You can get out there and do whatever you want.
Who wants to get muddy with their buddy?
Yeah, so it's a lot. It is a lot of fun. But so that's what.
And I have to mention the one other thing this week. Of course, we went to the post office, and the people at the post office here are so super nice.
Super nice.
And helpful. And we actually saw George's doppelganger here
Yeah.
at the post office.
George's
And I looked
doppelganger.
over and I said, "Look, Brett, it's Postal George." And it was so funny.
That picture's on my phone, or I'd share it. But we'll have to put that up.
It was just
Postal
funny.
George.
But they are so super nice here and helpful, and it's always good to have good service at the post office because
Yeah.
they control your stuff, man.
Now, when we go in there, they're never that busy, and it's a downtown office, but they have no routes out of that office, so that
Which is
might
probably
be,
why they're in a good mood.
That's why they're in a good mood. Yeah. The
Well,
routes create all the stress.
Now, somebody had asked us the question if we are away from the fires. The fire that happening in Denali actually
Oh.
is, they plan on reopening this Wednesday. They have been closed since I want to say the 2nd, and they just opened up the park for the employees to come back this past weekend. So they do have that fire contained. It is still going, but it's contained. And the name of that fire is Riley.
Yep.
If anybody wants to look it up, but
But that fire started. Have we done the video yet? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so in that video, you'll see us showing the Princess Lodge Hotel. Gorgeous. It's huge and it's big and it's lots of wooden rafters and stuff. I think that's cool. But that hotel, right behind it, is where that fire started. And it
Yeah, right
started
there.
the next morning. We were already here in Anchorage, but it started the next morning that we left. That fire started, and they had already closed the park and evacuated the area.
now that is such a
Now,
wonderful facility. I can't believe.
I don't know if they
all the
evacuated
money
the
they
hotel
lost.
right away, but I would imagine
I'm sure they lost a ton of money with
Yeah.
all of that, but how scary that must be if you own that and the fires are that close.
Yeah, that was
I'd been freaking out.
the
But
fires were chasing us to Anchorage, I
so,
guess.
and and then a lot of people came just to go there for the holiday weekend, and those poor people, their trip got canceled. So that stinks, but they will be reopening this Wednesday. They say because of the active lightning thunderstorms going on this year, they're having a lot more fires than usual.
Yeah, now the fire is still burning there, but
It's
it's
contained.
contained, so they're allowing people to come back in.
Oh, hi, Deborah.
Hi Deborah, thanks for joining us. I have a question for the live. Is there anyone that's watching that is living in Tennessee or has lived in Tennessee? I have a question for you. So you can just chime in there on the chat, and I'll get back to you with the question because there might not be anybody.
There might not be. That person's from Michigan.
Yeah, they're
Hello.
from Michigan.
Hello, Michigan.
I want to go to Upper Peninsula, Michigan, maybe next summer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to discover still.
Yeah.
Another question someone had asked us is, when are you leaving Alaska? They think we have a plan.
A plan? We have a plan here. We're gonna go. We're gonna be here. Was it till the 22nd? I think.
Oh, there's somebody that says they live in Tennessee.
Used to live there. One person
Live in
lives
Clarksville.
there. Clarksville.
30 years.
That's the Fort Campbell area.
I've lived on Fort Campbell.
Yep, I did. I lived on Fort Campbell too for 3 years, but 1 year I was deployed. The expert lives in Tennessee. Okay, so if you're from Tennessee, here's a question. Or you have ever lived in Tennessee, I want you to give me your top. I know there are many things you like or don't like about Tennessee, possibly. Give me your top 2 things that you like the most about Tennessee, followed up by the 2 things you like least about Tennessee. Give me your top 2 and your bottom 2.
Okay. So, the plan originally of when we're leaving Alaska is the end of August, beginning September, but we don't have anything concrete with dates, so it's still about that same time frame. Now that's a little flexible, so it could move up a week or back a week. We don't know, but we'll keep you posted along the way.
Yeah.
And people were asking where you plan on going when you leave Alaska.
I want to go visit Tennessee.
Well, we will.
Among other places.
But before we get that far down, I know for sure I'm going to be stopping in to see my son in North Dakota. Now, that's just a short trip because he does work and you can only carve out so much time when people have jobs, so you have to respect that.
I'd like to go down through Idaho, possibly, and across Montana.
Idaho? Idaho.
No.
Idaho.
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 I like potatoes.
And I will be stopping in Ohio, and that'll be another quick trip to see my sister and my nieces and nephews. And I know we'll be going down to Tennessee, but I'm not sure like
We
where
do
spread
sell.
out from that.
They don't say debunked, but we do sell the shirts. The link is on our page. Just go out there and scroll down, and you'll see it on the Amazon wish.
No. It's in the bio, or it's even there's a link in the video descriptions, but it's also in our bio.
It's in our bio.
The channel bio.
If you go to the channel and scroll down, you'll see it. They're pretty affordable. I mean, we kept them affordable. There's not a large profit margin on them, but they're cute. We like them.
They're comfy.
They're comfortable.
I like it.
Yeah.
Comfy. And then someone wanted to know, are you going to be buying souvenirs from everywhere you go?
Everywhere we go? Probably not. We have 25 feet of storage here.
That is another huge issue, which most people don't deal with, is when you're in an RV, you can't really collect stuff.
Yeah.
Now, can you buy a few things to bring back to your homestead when you get it? Well, right now we don't have a homestead, but I'm sure, there might be a thing or two we may purchase or not. I'm not sure yet. But as of yet, we have bought 0. Well, I stand corrected. I have 1 souvenir. One
The train whistle
souvenir of one.
that we
So-
bought at Fort Greely.
Magnets, yeah.
Magnets.
That would be a good idea because I do like fridge magnets and I do have a couple from some other places. So maybe I will get a magnet. I'll keep my eyes open. And when I do, I will let you know.
Said they couldn't send it to a post office box. You have to check that.
I would ask the post office where you live then, because I don't know how they ship it. We had ours shipped to the general delivery
General delivery, not
at
to
the
a
post
box.
office.
So
It
it's-
wasn't to a P.O. box,
Yeah.
but that would be the same difference, really.
Well, if it says P.O. Box, sometimes it flags it. If it says 800 Street, Anchorage, Alaska,
So that's
use
another.
the street address and put
Use-
general delivery in the street address.
Yeah, use the street address of your post office.
You're tricking the system. Is what
And
you're doing.
like what I've done before is use the street address of the post office, and when it asks for the apartment number, I put the number sign and my P.O. box number.
Yeah,
You can do that.
that's a way to
So
trick
if
it
you
too.
have an intelligent postal worker, they'll understand what that means.
Yeah.
So you could try that way.
Yes.
I mean, you got to always trick the system.
Make
Technology thinks it's smart. but
Ask and
it's
make
not
sure that your
always.
local post office is a general delivery post office, because as we found out up here in Alaska, all of them are not.
Well, even if it's not general delivery, that is the way you could go about doing it if
Yeah,
you have a
that's
P.O.
true.
box at that
If
post
you have
office.
a P.O. box, you'll put it in the P.O. box.
It was in Bronson. Ugh.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Sorry, your postmaster is
Sorry, your postmaster. is-
interesting.
Yeah,
So-
that's a nice word.
But they still do it even in Bronson. If you put
Even in Bronson.
even in Bronson, I know that
We
postmaster's
know her
a
very
little
well.
a little tricky. That's just the niceties I will use.
Yeah,
But
she's-
what you should be able to do is list the post office's address and then in there put the number sign and your P.O. box. Maybe go inside and talk to one of the clerks. I don't know if Patty is still over there.
Yeah.
I don't know sending it attention
I
postmaster
wouldn't
for
do
that place.
You
I
don't
would
want to flag it
absolutely
to the
not do that.
postmaster there. No.
But maybe if you went inside and talked to one of the clerks there, there's Patty there. I don't know if, I'm not sure of the other gal's name that works there, but they might be able to help you out with the right way to address it so that it gets delivered and get a heads up. It's always a good idea to develop a good relationship with the clerks at the post
Yes.
office too. That way your stuff doesn't get sent back.
Right.
But that's the way when I worked for the post office that we always did, was using thank you, Jessica.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it. She's on it.
She is on it.
She's working that wrench, man.
Woo, woo. So yeah, definitely give that a try using their address and just give the clerk a heads up about it and you should be fine. What else do you want to talk about? Oh, here is a good question. Now, as everybody knows, we're looking to buy a homestead and we have been looking in the beautiful state of Tennessee. So while we are away from Tennessee, Brett has been looking online a lot at all these different houses. And I want to know what y'all's thoughts are with buying a house from another state. What are your thoughts? Would you do it if you didn't get to put feet on the ground?
You're talking about sight unseen.
Sight unseen, you're the only seeing has been through
Virtual
pictures,
tour.
virtual tours, talking to people, those type of things. Because I know when I sold a house in Ocala, there was like a huge bidding war
Don't
of
do it.
people in other states that were looking at my house, and
Thanks,
I
Kelly.
couldn't believe that people would do that. So
It's a thing.
you know, it is a thing. But so Brett's been looking a lot online and at all these places, and I personally, I think it's nuts.
We're getting a
And
mixed bag. No way to yes, I've done it.
so
You ask for opinions, you get them.
that's right. But I wanted to know what other people think. So
Now,
No
some
way a
people
lot
will
of
be
people
like, well,
say-
why are you picking Tennessee already? You just left Florida.
well, Tennessee, I have
Tennessee's always been on my radar.
Tennessee has always been on my radar. Matter of fact, before I met Brett, I was at a point in my life where I was done with Florida, and I grew up in Florida. I had lived there so long, so I had always wanted to move away. I always wanted to be a snowbird. I just didn't want to be there full time. So at that time, I was actually looking at Alaska and Tennessee, and those were my two options. But after looking at Alaska and seeing how expensive it would be to live there, I decided Tennessee was where I was going to go. So if I had not met him, I would have already purchased in Tennessee probably within that year. So I was at that point where I was ready to sell and leave and head to Tennessee. So he kept me in Florida for a few more years.
Yeah.
But Tennessee has always been on my radar of where I was going.
Things that make Tennessee attractive. We like the slower pace, so we like a rural lifestyle. But we want access to amenities. We need access to grocery stores.
Tube town, baby.
Yeah, Tube Town, baby.
Can we take Tennessee?
Tennessee is centrally located. You can be at the beach in 5 hours. You can be up in the northern states in a day. You can be back down in Florida in a day. So, excuse me. From there, you can hit the four corners. You also don't have the extreme heat like Florida. I mean, it can hit that hot, but it ain't gonna stay there. You can have your occasional hot days, but you ain't gonna get 3 weeks of swamp butt, 3 months of swamp butt. That's crazy. Florida's just too hot, too long.
And even with us buying a homestead,
Yeah.
we have bought an RV and to travel, and we will still
Yes.
be doing that. But it's just nice to also have a homestead to keep some of your stuff and have somewhere that you have roots that you can go back to when you don't feel like traveling at the moment. So
Tennessee's cost on everything seems pretty. It's either in the top 5 or top 10 in almost every category that's important to me. It's relatively safe, low on crime, unless you get in the cities. I kind of like central and north central area of Tennessee. I like a little bit of mountains. I like it to snow in the wintertime like it's supposed to. We don't need too much snow. I don't need 3 months of
so
snow.
you want some seasons?
I want some
Because
seasons.
Florida doesn't really have seasons.
two.
It's like you got hot and hotter.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I've lived with my whole life. So I'm definitely beyond ready for
Yeah.
a change in that.
So central, 4 seasons, no income taxes are appealing. But since we're not working, do they tax my retirement?
Dollywood.
Dollywood's right there. We like that.
Maybe.
That's a pretty area.
It is a pretty
But
area.
something like that is what I'm looking for. And look, we're not looking for some big house. We want a small house
Yeah, I definitely don't want anything big. I'm
because
not.
we still plan to travel, and I don't want to tie up a mortgage in this big house.
Not only that, but you have to upkeep it.
Upkeep, heating, air conditioning, insurance, all that stuff.
All
A
that
big
stuff.
house costs more. We want small house. We want cute house, maybe a big shop because we got stuff to put in it. Because we'd like to maybe buy a few, go to a few auctions, not on a big scale, small scale.
So you want to get back into
Maybe
doing a little
start up your
reselling.
eBay stuff again. Yep, she used to be eBay seller. We like to do some of that stuff, but I think it's from what I'm seeing on videos. A lot of videos are from realtors. A lot of the realtors know the area. Now, are they biased? Maybe, but they also have lived there and they know the area. So they see a lot of people. They go in a lot of houses, so they're really well qualified also to tell you if find an honest one.
Jessica says you want a guest house.
A guest house, yes.
Are you going to visit us?
We want to be a
Jessica?
guest. So ideally, I'd like something, if affordable, on the water or near water, on a lake, not the ocean.
A bust.
A small house with a shop on a piece of land. It doesn't need to be big. It can be an acre, half an acre. That's really it. Is that too demanding?
Will that be all with that order, sir?
I like the lower insurance costs there. I've looked at. I like the lower gas costs there. Alabama is the cheapest in gas of the border states to Tennessee, but Tennessee is 32. When I checked this morning, 32 cents cheaper
Is somebody a little obsessed with
in
Tennessee?
Tullahoma, Tennessee, as an example. I just picked a rural town at random,
Tullahoma?
and they were 32 cents cheaper per gallon than Chiefland. Those two towns are similar in size. So 32 cents cheaper on gas. Florida has a high gas tax that you don't realize.
By a river
Banjos.
with banjos playing in the
Hey,
distance.
I like banjos. You like ukuleles, don't you? I don't mind a banjo here and there as long as you're good people. Just be good people. It does snow more in the mountains, but the snow doesn't stick around. You might get a couple inches of snow. I think they average 5 to 7 inches a year. That's spread out over the whole winter. So
That's not terrible.
You don't need a snow blower. You don't need a shovel.
Just enough to make a snowball to have a
Just
good
enough.
time.
Just enough to make the coffee taste good.
Oh yeah.
Not enough to freeze.
I don't need snow to
it's-
make my coffee taste good.
It's not enough to freeze the lakes. So you can still fish.
Yeah.
So you can still play golf. Just color the ball so you don't lose it.
Well, I don't want to live on a river next
No.
to those folks.
No gladiators in Tennessee, right?
Coming soon to a river near you. No, thank you, baby.
So I did live in the
You
Fort
can keep
Campbell
those
area,
people.
Clarksville, for 3 years. Really 2 years. 3-year tour, 2 years on the ground. And we liked the land between the lakes area. It's a little far from the base, but there's going to be a lot of areas that don't have a base. But it'd be nice to be near a base.
Oh, bagpipes. Nice.
Bagpipes are cool.
Yeah,
You
I
go
like
this.
bagpipes.
Yeah.
We used to go to Awesome Scottish Festival down south. Oh my gosh, they had these, I don't know what they're called, but it's a boiled egg with sausage around it.
Yeah.
Like, those were so delicious. And they'd be playing the bagpipes. It was a good time.
Yeah. What
So,
else you got? And then I want to show the people the area.
so, a lot of people were asking us what we think of this craziness that's going down in the OC.
Oh, not in OC.
In the OC.
Are we gonna touch on Otter
Scotch
Creek
eggs.
today?
Delicious. So, yeah, so people wanted to know what we thought of this craziness that happened there
Man,
this past week with a pew pew and an 8-year-old and all this nutty stuff going on. And I want to tell you, number one, whew, just when you think it can't get any crazier, it does.
yeah.
They're constantly saying, hold my beer, watch this.
Yeah. So Gail called me. I was surprised to see her. I thought she was just gonna chat and say, "Hey, how y'all doing? Where y'all at?"
Wasn't expecting to hear that
Yeah,
kind
wasn't
of
expecting
news.
to hear that. So she was trying to get in touch with Jeremy, but she has Jeremy's number, so maybe
Well,
she lost it.
She might have lost it. You know how that thing.
So
might
she
have got
called
your
me.
phone.
She says, "This just happened. You need to call him right away." So I did. I called him.
And I
bef-
want to
and
say
before before I could even get it out, he was telling me what happened. So
I just want to say real quick that I appreciate all the good people there in Otter Creek, Gail for looking out, and you know it really touched my heart when I saw the video and she was asking George if she needed her to stay with her, and there is some great people in Otter Creek, and those are the good people. And
that's
Carl,
most of them.
yeah, Carl coming up, and
Yep.
you know these people looking out for each other and they care, and that is what I love about Otter Creek right there. The people that are concerned with each other, caring about each other,
Yeah.
and that's the good of Otter Creek. Believe me, the evil that's in Otter Creek, it will go away because God's going to be the last one saying, watch this.
All you gotta do is set a light on it, and the light in this case is a camera. You shine the camera on it, and the
Yeah.
bad leaves.
And again, you know, when the accountability of why you need to film everything is answered over and over again, because the Levy County Sheriff's Office,
They could
it's
have nipped this.
shameful.
They could have nipped this in the bud, and
they
do
keep
nothing.
it going on. I can only imagine. I have a few suspicions of why they keep this going on, and it's disgusting. But Jessica did post a link for that in the chat. It's also in the bio for the sweatshirts. But it is disgusting what's going on, and Levy County Sheriff's Office should be ashamed that they're allowing this to continue. They're feeding it and making it get worse. And our experiences when we lived there and had Shady Oaks Campground, when we had to call them a few different times when things were going bad, because let's face it, no matter where you're at, there's bad people. So there was instances where we had bad people in the campground, and anytime we called them, do you know how much help they were? They weren't. They were no help.
They were no help. Six times in the 6 years, mostly in the first 2 years, I called Levy County Sheriff to deal with a resident. They did nothing. I said, okay, thanks for coming. Go ahead and leave. I'll take care of it. And they're like, what are you going to do? None of your business. I gave you a chance to take care of it. You didn't do it, so now I'm going to do it.
And that's unfortunate because that's their job. It's what they get paid for.
Right.
Again, like I said before, we had one man shooting a gun out of his RV window.
Yeah. He later got Baker acted, but we tried to get them to Baker act him there. He could have killed someone.
They did absolutely nothing. They basically...
Yeah,
and the
Grady
dude,
Judd.
the dude left before the cops showed up, but his girlfriend was still there. So he didn't want to get in trouble. So he went up to Herschel's or wherever he went when the cops showed up. And so they asked the girlfriend, excuse me, are there any guns in here? And of course she says no.
She lies to him.
Because he had been beating her and she didn't want to give him up or whatever. She was afraid of him.
Yeah, she was afraid.
So what do the cops do? Oh, okay. So don't worry about what all the other residents in the campground are telling you. Don't worry about these things. Just, oh, okay. You know, and I really wish that I would have taken the advice and started filming stuff way back when, because we would have had a lot of footage, especially of the lack of Levy County Sheriff's Office doing their job.
The lack of law enforcement.
And it's very shameful, but they are creating a problem. And I remember on that day that they came out, when he was shooting the gun out of his window, Brett did ask him, what does it take? A body? Does it take a body for you to do something? And I guess that's the answer, that that's what they need.
That's what they need.
And
they need a body.
That's shameful to think that that's the extent it's going to have to get to before they actually do something. So I personally am afraid for my Otter Creek or Tubetown and visit of what's going on there. So I even asked Brett the other day, do you think it's a good idea for us to go back there? I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it. I'm in fear of what could happen there. And that's what's happening is, and especially after seeing that, and here they have a festival that they're planning. Well, what about the safety of the people at the festival?
Yeah, Laura Mott, that's your lane, ain't
now,
it?
Laura Mott is supposed to be in charge of the safety concerns for the town, so I hope she's planning something to take care of the citizens of the town, because when you have loose cannons like that that need to be dealt with, and you're just turning a blind eye, it's only a matter of time before it gets worse.
I think I know what she's going to do if she does anything. She'll get her boyfriend, the EMT guy, just to drive through. But that's not the answer.
She going to tell him to pack extra gauze that day? Or what? That's not...
her answer
that's
for
not
everything
a solution.
is the fire department, I know people, and the EMT, and I know people. Well, they have specific jobs, and providing security is not neither of their jobs.
Sounds like Otter Creek needs a sheriff of their own.
If she knows people, get these police officers to do what it is they're supposed to be doing. I know you got some cop friends out there. Get them to patrol. Get them to enforce. Get them to get statements, investigate both sides, and do the right thing. That's the main thing.
A lot of people are asking too, can the town of Otter Creek do something? And again, because the town of Otter Creek has no code enforcement, they don't do anything about anything that's going on. But what's going on Lynette's property is breaking every code you could imagine. And the people there are just growing and growing. It's almost like a meth colony in the making.
Do you remember when Therese was mayor, they talked about this interlocal agreement, like when she first took over the office? This interlocal agreement was an agreement with small towns that were incorporated that relied on the county for services. Like they were getting code enforcement, they were getting animal control to some degree, and they were getting police support too
The popo.
through the interlocal agreement. So that made them respond. But when they broke that interlocal agreement, in large part because Russell was putting people in in between a rock and a hard place, putting them in bad situations where the county just said, look, we're not going to do it anymore. They cut ties. Now the town is responsible for its own. That's the problem. The town of Otter Creek can't afford, you know how much it costs to put a police in Otter Creek?
The police cost money, the code
Yeah,
enforcement costs
you're
money,
gonna pay two people to do
the
what,
animal
40
control
hours a week?
costs money.
They can't afford it. They'll
But-
never be able to afford
But the
it.
sad thing is, if you want to do good things for the town and have festivals and whatnot,
Yeah,
you have to put some attention on these other things, because if you're going to have dogs running loose when you have citizens everywhere, that's going to be a problem.
how about the code enforcement on that's property?
If
How
you
long
have-
is she allowed to live in that trailer and not have a house finished?
Which trailer? Because
This-
there's more than one.
Well-
and then there's more people coming onto the property day by day.
And there's a certain amount of time that you're allowed to live in an RV on a property that you're building. You have a certain amount of time to get that COO, which is a certificate of occupancy you have to get that says, okay, now you can move in your house. But you have to first finish building it. You have to get the final inspection. That's your COO. Once you get that, you're allowed to move in. How long can she live in a trailer on a property and not have a house? That's a big thing. Actually, in Levy County, they talk about it all the time. You can't live on a property in a mobile home forever.
Well, it depends who you are and what favors you're doing, I guess.
It's all a good old boy system.
Because,
Sometimes they look the other way, and sometimes
and again, I can't say I would care as much if there wasn't a poor innocent child living on that property in the middle of all of this. So you got a gun-toting fool who's just whipping out a gun, and this child is running around the property and this and that. What if that child gets hit by a stray bullet?
and I know you can get an extension, and they've already gotten that extension and surpassed that. So it's time to do something. It's time for enforcement to do something.
So
If the county ain't going to do it,
then Otter Creek needs
then
to
Otter
do something.
Creek needs to do
One
it.
of these two agencies need to figure something out. So I think Otter Creek needs a sheriff of their own. If Levy County ain't going to do it, then Otter Creek needs to get in there and do
Yeah.
something.
Now Russell never wanted to do anything because he counted on these
He likes
people.
he likes those people
Yes.
being in there because he gets special favors
the
from those
people that are violating those regulations. He didn't enforce it because he's getting favors, and that was why he looked the other way, because he was being paid off to. And I think Levy County Sheriff is doing kind of the same thing.
So I don't know what exactly is going on with the whole
But
cahoots
you know,
of the sheriff's
the
office
sheriff is
and
Bob-
the Meeks. But
the sheriff is Bobby McCollum. Now, when you talk to him, he's a nice guy. I don't know him real well, but I've met him a couple times. He goes to my stepmother's church, and he's usually there, and he's nice to talk to, but he's been there too long. You know, he doesn't want to enforce. He doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to buy his time, punch his time clock, go home. He doesn't want to make any waves. The guy needs to retire, move on, get some new, fresh ideas in there, get somebody who wants to do the job. And
I think they have that problem even with the county seats. They need
Yeah.
fresh people in there. I heard that Wilbur Dean, who's the county coordinator, is going to be retiring. I don't remember if it was January or February, but he's been around there for a while, so he's going to be retiring. So they need to get some fresh people in there.
they need to get Meeks off those boards. They're not doing anything but sitting there and just protecting their own interests. Matt Brooks, I haven't heard anything good about him either, although I have no firsthand knowledge. But do your research. If you've never heard of them before, then vote for them. You know, Levy County, get to the polls, get informed, go read, go vote.
But yeah, so I really don't know how I feel about the safety, my safety going back to Otter Creek. I'm still contemplating that and how to handle that. I have serious concerns about the safety of all my friends that live in Otter Creek.
Especially when stray bullets go off for no reason. It's ridiculous.
So I am afraid for my friends.
What else you got in your notebook? And we'll show
I got no other notes.
Oh.
Like, that's it.
You want to show the people around?
Yes, let's move on to something more positive.
All right, let's walk around. So we still got you see a camper. We most of the time, if it's not raining.
Show the distance of where this moose was.
Yeah, this is, you see the little screen door here? It just opens and pulls. We most of the time have it just like this.
This moose was standing
nice.
right here. Right
I'm
here.
going to turn the camera around. So that moose was standing right there
here.
where she's at. Let me get you some perspective in relation to the trailer. Moose is right there. And he came out of these woods. We are in the back of the campground. So these are all woods. I didn't see exactly where they came out, but I would imagine right there.
Yeah, we have a nice woodsy lot here.
We're also told that there's an elk and 2 babies, but we have not
haven't
seen
them
this
yet.
elk and 2 babies.
There's
And
also a bear.
there's supposed to be a fat little black bear in the area.
A fatty bear.
A fatty bear, they're calling it, but we haven't seen that either.
They say he or she, I don't even know if it's a he or she, that it's non-aggressive,
Yeah,
but I don't know if you got some good food.
yeah,
Old fatty might be aggressive.
yeah. So this is kind of the setup. If you look all around, there's no neighbors to the left, no one to the back. We're in the back of the campground. It's a big site, but it's a little unkept. It's a little overgrown, and these looks like there's a lot of weeds in here, and they kind of just hacked it.
That's what I've noticed about Anchorage altogether is it's
Yeah.
a little unkept and there's a lot
Yeah.
of weeds.
There's a lot of homeless in Anchorage, but
Oh.
but understand this, and I don't want to offend anybody, but Anchorage is another sanctuary city, democratically ran. They just got a new Democratic governor, so you're gonna get that's what you get. That's the results of governorship from that side of the aisle.
The sad part of what I saw personally was there was a tremendous amount of garbage. And when I looked out, they have a huge tent city. It's actually right outside the base
It's
here.
on city property.
It's on city property where one of their snow dumps is. And there's like a huge pit where they would dump the snow. It is filled
Filth.
with garbage
Filthy.
and filth. And I'm sure there's feces and all this other stuff. They're ruining the land.
Somebody asked where do they go in the winter. I don't know.
That's what I've been wondering
Yeah, I don't
too.
know. I have no
Because I
idea.
said, okay, well, I get it that they just look the other way, but what do they do with them during the winter? They have to house them somewhere, otherwise they would die out here in the cold. So that's my same question too. And if I get an answer, I'll definitely share it with you.
Yeah.
But I think it's shameful that
Now there are some nice homes. We
They
have
need to have
driven
a
through.
solution
We
to
have driven
this.
through some nice homes, and I'm sure they're in the
oh yeah, there's a
$1 million.
hoity-toity neighborhood
There's some
near the zoo.
hoity-toity stuff here too, out by the zoo, but there's some real scum. The downtown is just scummy. It's just
It's
it's dirty.
a little
It gives a bad
rundown.
impression. It's run down. Buildings are boarded up.
We were walking
It's
through
just-
an alleyway actually on our way to
Yeah,
the mall,
it's
and there
not
were
what
some
I
people
expected.
doing rugs right there.
Right there,
And I was like,
downtown Main Street, which is Fifth
we
Avenue.
didn't start our live yet or anything, but Brett was like, maybe we shouldn't start it yet because the people don't want to see this. And I'm like, well, you got to keep it real.
Yeah.
You know, this is really what we're seeing, and we're walking through this alleyway, and you know, we were walking a little bit faster after that.
Yeah, so we'll walk around here and we'll talk at the same time. So this is the slide outside, the driver's side, the utilities. That's our only neighbor over there. He's about 100 feet over. He's not home much. He's got 2 vehicles. His other one's gone. So that's nice. You got water and electric. There's my water hookup. I use a pressure gauge on there. Wow, that's got 65 pounds going through it. That's pretty high. I'm gonna have to dial that back. I'll get
Yeah,
back and
buddy.
change that later.
It's a good thing you're paying attention now.
Yeah, I thought it was 40 pounds. That thing's up to 60. That's enough for RV plumbing.
That's what I do when I look at the scale too. I downsize the pounds.
So we are right across from this bathhouse, but they have it closed right now because they had some winter pipes bust. So they put some porta potties over here, but guess what? They give us a discount. We don't usually normally use the bathhouses anyway. We just use everything we have in the coach. But it's $27 a day instead of $30 because the bathhouse is out of service. And they do have another bathhouse. Over there where this RV is, back there, that's the dump station, and right beside that is another bathhouse. So I think they have about 60 spots here, give or take.
Yeah. And there's 2 campgrounds on this base.
There's 2 campgrounds on the base. We're on the Elmendorf Air Force Base side, and they do have one called Black Spruce, and that's on the Richardson side. And it's equal in cost, equal in amenities. A lot of them have sewer at every spot. This one doesn't. I don't care about that. Someone says they lived in, Los Anchorage. That's what they call it from Fairbanks. I call it Los Anchorage. But it's gloomy today. It rained overnight, but nothing heavy. I'm just going to show you around a little bit here. It's a nice campground. It's very quiet here. We even got a bench.
I know, I just noticed it. Well, maybe I'll just sit here and wait for the bus.
You waiting for the
I'm
bus?
waiting for the bus.
That's a good.
Party bus.
That's a good spot.
Party bus? Party
Yeah.
bus? No party bus.
Our spot even came with a flag for 4th of July. Somebody left it, so I put a rubber band
Yeah.
on it, and that was our flag.
You're a big time decorator. Did you
These
guys,
campgrounds, are they open all year? I can't remember if they're open all year.
I believe this one is.
I think it is, yes.
Some of them are not, but this one I do believe when we spoke to the manager the other day.
They'll cut the water off,
He's-
but the electric is on.
Yeah. You see the eyes in the trees? Somebody's watching me.
So that moose came right through here, came right across here, went right across the road, and went right between the building and the porta potties. Went right through there. And on the other side is just more woods, but there's more campers. All the campers are in this direction. Like there's like 3 rows that way, and there's 2 rows that way. So there's like 5 or 6 rows of campers. We're just on the back line. Those moose came right through here, and they walked right around the electrical panels there and went that way. Now there was a car chasing it on the other side, and so they veered off to the right. But this is all woods. And wherever they pop out, they're going to pop out near other campers, so I'm sure they startled somebody else. See this camper here? These are typical rentals. The Great Alaskan Holidays, these are rental campers that are common up here. People come from the lower 48, they fly up, they rent a camper. They visit Denali, Fairbanks, come back.
This is a supersized rent-a-can.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I've never seen one so large.
It's more wet here than Fairbanks. It's really 2 different climates.
It really is. I was shocked.
It's dry and hotter there. Fairbanks will get colder and they'll get hotter. Here it's more temperate. It'll get to minus 20, but that's really cold for Anchorage. Usually it's 0 to plus 20. And then they get as high. This is a normal high. It's 65 probably today, but it gets in the 70s.
Which is really nice for bike
Yeah,
riding.
it's nice for bike riding. I like the cooler weather.
But I think the people in Fairbanks were friendlier.
Somebody says we're getting a little blurry. Are we blurry? You're getting blurry.
Maybe we've strayed too far from our camper. Get back to your site.
We got good signal here. We got 5G with between 2 and 3 bars, sometimes 4.
5G?
5G.
Is that like 5 Georges?
It's 5
Does that mean we got 5 Georges or 5 Grangers?
Grangers.
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 Granger.
We got
Danger.
Postal George though. I couldn't believe she looked just like George. I was like, George! Oh,
It was funny. I wonder if I have that picture.
I bet you do.
Are you making bets now?
Yeah,
Watch out.
it's Postal George.
I'll expect you to pay up.
It's pixelating. Oh, I don't know why.
You pixelated me.
Maybe the weather. Sometimes the weather will do
Okay.
that.
There's Postal George.
Okay, show Postal George. George is wearing a mask, but that's Postal George. I hope y'all could see that.
It's funny when you meet people that look like your people and it reminds you of them.
Well, if you guys don't have anything else for us, that's our adventures this week. And next week we got some. Next week, the week after.
No,
that.
we aren't using Starlink.
Nope, just the phones, right off the towers.
We were able to drive through Denali and have a quick day there before the fire, thank God.
Yeah.
So, and we did put out a video about that. It was a beautiful drive through.
Yeah.
The scenery was just gorgeous. So I'm blessed that we were able to do that.
And that was a 2-day video. They're not action packed, okay? But if you like beautiful mountains, I couldn't get her to dance out the window of the Jeep. But if you like the scenery of beautiful mountains, I mean, just picturesque. The pictures don't even do it justice.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
It's-
I've never seen.
The size of it all is just, it's awe-inspiring. It's huge, huge,
Huge.
huge.
So it's just beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I think every state has a
Yeah,
homeless problem.
that they don't seem to be able to solve.
We need some more solutions. And I know that there's usually a lot of mental health issues that go with it, drug problems. So I think they need to focus on those programs and making them more affordable. What are you doing? What are you doing? In my face, getting all up in my face, in my space. So yeah, they do need to put more into those programs if they're gonna fix the problem. So, but they are ruining the lands by allowing them to live like that.
Well, hey, if you guys had something, hey, Stats,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
Stats.
the 150.
Ooh, pie. I like me some pie.
Her grandmother was the first postmaster in Anchorage.
Oh, that's way cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is way cool.
So if you have questions, concerns, or comments, just write them there at madammayorsadventures@gmail.com, and she will get to them.
I will.
If we missed any in chat and there was something that we missed, again, email her. And you'll get a personalized response from Madam Mayor.
Bacon pie? Oh my. That would be delicious.
But we thank you for joining us. We know there's other people out there you want to watch, so you won't take too much of your time. We appreciate you watching. We love you guys. You have a great evening, a great week.
Yep. Enjoy your week and show everybody some love and take care of each other. And again, I love being able to spend time with you guys. And we will see you again next week.
All right.
Bye, Jessica.
Email us if we missed something. Thank
Yep.
you.
Love y'all.
Bye, guys.
Peace.